The Earth, what you see is the the ball on the one with the bigger ball with the line through it on the right, and it looks at the Earth and it looks at the coronosphere, and it's there are several cameras. This particular camera, though, okay, is not just visual spectrum, but this is also energy signature detection. Wayne, what did we find when you were looking and doing research on this today?
Well, we found Venus again. I've gone back and looked at the data on this, and we have enough of it on enough of our shows. Steve, the controversy has always been about Venus, that this was a reaction, to the camera. Well, I'm telling you what we're going to do. We're going to come in here and we're going to, give me 1 second here. There we go. Now I've slowed this down. Steve, this is the Earth, right? We have no idea what these two objects are. We've tracked them. We continue to track them. But watch this, Steve. Watch Venus. Now I've slowed this down to 1/20th of the normal speed. And if our viewers will watch, Earth is actually rotating. You can see it actually rotating here. But look at what happens to Venus, Steve. So we got our two objects, right?
Double like flare.
Yeah. And there we see them going in, right?
Right.
But watch what happens, my friend. So we've seen this before. We've seen this outblow, but we've never seen a clear delineation like this. But watch this, Steve. Watch this. So it goes down, right?
Yep.
And then they say, okay, what you're going to get is this little tail. That's just normal.
That's the flare of Venus coming in on an energy signature, Wayne. It's got there's an energy flare.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's an energy flare. Watch this, Steve. We've never seen this. I haven't. Now watch.
DNA shape of that.
Get ready for it. Get ready for it, folks. Just be patient. Look at the Earth. We're seeing it. By the way, I'd like to know where this flare came opposite of the sun there, but we'll discuss that later. Watch this.
Notice something new every time we look at these flares.
Yeah, it's like, look, how'd that happen? So watch. Steve, this is going to absolutely mesmerize you. Wait for it.
17th. This is February 17th or 18th.
What in the world, Steve? Now I'm going to let this continue to play. Then we'll go back. Look at that. Look at then it goes out. Look at it. You can see it's reacting to something is going on behind here, Steve.
Oh my. That's like an OMG moment I just had.
It is. It is seriously an OMG moment. We'll get it into the normal light here. Let me stop here so we can get it back into, so this is what we're seeing. I still don't know. These are planets, Steve. I'm just convinced of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what, okay, I say planets. They're something. They're solid objects. They're in close enough to the Earth. Now watch this, Steve. We've seen this before. Now you actually see, and look how it reacted up here.
There's a flare up on the top.
Yeah, and look at, there's one right here. But look at what happens. So we're used to seeing this, right? Now, this is the first time I've ever seen it just completely obfuscate. Now, normal, right?
Right. Now it looks okay. Now I'm like, okay, we're traveling through space together.
We're just, good day here. Valentine's coming up, and okay, all right. What's that building? And the infamous loop, right?
Yeah, the infamous double helix loop.
Yes. So, again, I love that little sprite right there. So I'm going to start slowing this really down even more, Steve. I want us to really get the full effect of that.
And then, Wayne, what I did while you were doing that is I went up and pulled the current images up off of the H1, and I'll be ready to show that when you're done.
Okay, we'll just do this one more time because, folks, this is like, you know, really, really slow. So you can actually, it's going frame by frame, Steve, so everyone can actually see what frames they're putting up.
You're on the 14th, and we got to get to the 18th.
Look at that. And it's only when you do these individual frames do you really get an idea of what is really taking place out there. I mean,
that was a surprising flare.
Yeah, and you know, and our sun is just so quiet. Look at that. You know, so we can see how they're processing the frames. And, you know, we got the sun continue with its outburst, and now things are going to start getting interesting.
Things are getting weird.
Well, they really are. And by the way, you know, we've had record temperatures here in the Denver area for the last, I don't know, 17 days. And now it's snowing. Yeah. And they want to know what's going on. So, again, watch the Earth. We really get the full effect of how it actually rotates. I don't know if people really realize that that's how you can really see the Earth is rotating as Venus. But, okay, Steve, so here we come. Here we come, marching in you. Yeah, so, ready?
You were going to sing a monkey song, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Grew up with those guys. Davey. All right, watch. Look at the intensity of here of everything.
It's just too intense to be a flare, guys, and that's what NASA said. By the way, we actually had a person that pays attention and actually has dialogue with NASA. Actually, had one of the engineers say that this was a Venus flare, and I would vehemently disagree with him.
Well, they call it the Venus flare. That's fine. I'm
that's
just
okay.
What's it flaring off of? It's out of the view of the camera.
And
so,
why is it different shapes when it shows up different times?
Yeah, and you know, by now this has moved so far off of the camera, it's not even picking up on HI1, right? And now we're about to get out here. Now listen, I like doing these frames. This is what we do, folks, when you're not seeing it. Now watch, here we go. It's building. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, that is an explosion.
Look at that.
Makes you wonder if we did, nuclear, I don't know if nukes could cause that. That's huge. That's the size of 30 Earths.
It's huge. And here is, all right, so if this is the flare, the Venus flare.
Then why would it have black definition?
Why would the light spectrum, yeah, exactly. You know, so.
The black indicates polarity.
So I want to know, and let's continue. Look at the size of this.
That is electrical current, man.
Look at this, Steve. I mean, I've gone back, and maybe someone can show me another frame like this. I haven't seen it, but this is extraordinary. And it continues to build.
Yeah.
And I'm just slowing this down.
Polarity, Wayne, that's polarity on that loop around that supposed flare. It's no longer a flare, no way. Not even close.
In fact, I'm going to tell you what, I am going to actually take a snapshot. I want to do some analysis on this right here.
Oh, yes, please do.
You know, listen, all right, so if this is a flare, you're going to have to tell me where the light source is coming from. And if you're saying that a planet, Venus, is having this type of, what would we say, photonic? I don't know. These are photons, right?
No, see, the thing, okay, because we're kind of tongue-in-cheek right now. We get that way, guys. So let me apologize and just tell you, Wayne and I have done a deep study on stereo A and the cameras and the architecture, and we've looked at what the engineers said about it, and we consider ourselves subject matter experts on this. I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything like that.
Well, no. Let's just put it in the context, folks. How many of you have gone to school? Everyone raised their hands. Well, sure you have. So how many hours does it require you to graduate a grade or a class, Steve? Oh. Would you say that if you put 100 classroom hours into your degree, where would you be at on your degree? Well, if one class is what? Credited to you for what, 2 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my whole point of it is, as simple observers as we are, folks, you can do the same thing. I mean, if you spend, once you put in over 100 hours into a particular subject, you can call yourself a subject matter expert.
Right,
So,
but this is okay. So then, just to give a little back color for people that are new to Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger, you know, Wayne helped me get WSO off the ground, and one of the things that happened to WSO in December is we got shut down. It was because we were becoming too good at looking at Sechi, I think.
well, indeed. And, you know, when we start shifting into these other light, you know, I look at these and I think to myself, okay, wait a minute.
I'm seeing something with dimension here, which tells me that it's plasma.
So if this is a lens flare, folks, give me a break. It has the signature, and then I guess this is a lens flare too, right? Is that what we're saying?
That's what that is, yeah.
I mean, because you can't have the door swinging both ways on this count, you know. And this is what I don't like about it, is that if you're going to be an honest broker, then be an honest broker. Don't give me the standard line. Steve and I have been at this too long. Now,
yeah, I would say that we've spent a good 100 hours of just pure research time on this camera. On this set of cameras, not just this one camera, but there's like 6 of them there.
I don't know what this is, but I'm smart enough, intuitively enough, to say, okay, I ain't buying it. There is a reaction. It's taking up so much volume in space that, Steve, you got to look at this and go, why?
Well, hey, we'll call out to our physicist too to give us her analysis on this as well. But Wayne,
well, here it goes. It continues on, and the intensity of this. And you know, listen, folks, I don't know what it is. Let's just continue to look at this.
It comes almost into full circumference.
It does.
And why isn't there polarity on the object itself?
I would swear.
There's a line going up and down on the screen. How
are we getting a complete spherical light source here, Steve?
Right, but let me make this point, Wayne. It's very important. A planet will have polarity aligned up and down through it, like Earth does on this picture. You see how it's got that vertical line up and down the page.
Right.
If we were looking at an object, this very bright light, we would be seeing a line.
Yeah.
So I just want to make that point because that looks like a magnetic. Oh gosh, compare it to what's coming out of the sun, Wayne.
Yeah. And then it does this. Look at this. So I know our physicists look at this.
What? It looks like it's reaching out to the sun, kind of.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, come on, folks. Light, I just want to know, explain to me how the light reacts in such a manner. I don't know.
These are really good shots, too. You're right, Wayne. Take snapshots.
Yeah, when you get them into the single frames, and then look at this, Steve. Look what happens right here.
A line goes through the lens.
It does. And I know, folks, yes, I look at this as the wonderment of a child. But you tell me what's wrong with that. That's what I want to know. Look at that. So, Steve, I'm going to let you take over from here because I know
it's been a long segment, Wayne, but this is if this is what we think it is, dude, it is the biggest story in the history of mankind.
Well, there is something going on. You can see.
Even if it's not Nibiru or it's not Nemesis or it's not any of those things, we have enough, I think, data here just based on government, display, based on, putting out right in public. Thank you, guys. Thank you to the engineers at Stereo and the teams and all that stuff for giving us this footage and letting us see this stuff clearly. And we are asking you, too, if you want to give us feedback, you can email us. By the way, we'll have our new email address by Monday, Wayne. Our own CNN emails for you and I and our team as we build the team. And wanted to, let you know, until we get that, though, just send your emails to olson.steven.d@gmail.com, and we'll go from there. But anyway, here, Wayne, this is what it's on. The current image is coming off of Stereo. This is the Stereo Science Center site. This is the same thing that we saw in your footage.
Yeah, look at that. There is, listen, I can understand what
Look at how much brighter it is than the sun.
it is. It's just that it's not a lens flare. I mean, like I said, everyone
Whoa, whoa!
look at that.
That's your little jet that you were talking about.
The jet.
Another one. Look.
Look at that.
So now I'm going to get into footage that you don't have yet because it's in the lens.
This goes on for hours and hours, if not.
Now it's funny though. They haven't. This. Oh, jeez. Did you see that?
I saw that. This thing.
Oh, now there's a line.
Yeah, there is.
Now I'll take back what I said.
Look at that. I don't care what anyone says. You know what my interpretation, what I see with my mind's eye? I see a comet. I see a body that has all the characteristics and signature of a comet.
Yeah, and possibly. I'll go with you. I'll go with you on that because
a comet would have different reactions. I mean, in this case, we know that Venus does not have a magnetopause. We know it does not have the magnetic signature of a planet. It's in retrograde of all the other planets, and the other planets don't do this. I mean, we see Mercury. We can even see on H12, we can see Saturn, Jupiter.
Well, and I'll apply some of my backyard physics on this thing and say, okay, well, let's say that we already know that Venus doesn't have a magnetic field, right?
Correct.
So, but it would still be possible because it's an orb shape. We know that orbs, as they travel through space, pick up static charge.
Yeah.
That's just a scientific fact. And let's say that Venus has a propensity to store up in a magnetic charge and then discharge it when certain objects go by, like the Earth.
Goes with the electric universe.
It does. It could be as simple as Venus has gotten a big charge because it hasn't been close to anything for a long time. And the reason why it's so bright is because it's just so charged up right now. Now, it could be additive based on our physicist is saying that she theorizes that we're within 40 AU of a brown dwarf. Still, I don't know if that weighs into this because I think it can be explained with simple chart.
Can we go over to Emerald Spiral? Can we go over to integrated weather?
Integrated space weather?
Yeah. And let's pull up the rainbow spiral on here, and let's just see what Venus is doing.
Sorry for the long segment, guys, but it just seems like we really got to dig in here for a minute and just really kind of follow through with this story.
Well, we have tools. I think these are great tools, but even these we know are models. And so all we can do, let's go to, there we go.
Let's go to the inner planets first.
Yeah.
They haven't updated it.
They have not.
Nope.
What is going on?
Let's see.
So this is the frustrating part. It really is frustrating for us as when you're trying to do just basic research to get some sort of idea.
Well, maybe they can't. Maybe something blew up the model, and they just can't credibly put it out there because some variable went off the charts, and they just had to hey, we got to pull it down. We don't know what's going on.
Let's go into density of the outer. Let's see if we can see the outer planets. The other one, Steve. There, the next one.
Oh, the outer one. Okay, yeah.
First, good. You had it there to begin with. Right over there. You go. That one. Yep.
That one's just Earth.
Yeah, I just want to see. Okay. Look what. Okay, that's what I want to see. All right, let's pull up the other ones. Yeah, something is, as Holmes would say, is afoot.
Not updated. Pressure's not updated. Velocity's not updated. Well, that's disappointing, isn't it?
Well, how are we supposed to
do our science?
All right, let's see what we got on the sun. Let's go to the, where is it, the 211?
I think you like 171 the best.
I think, yeah. No, that's
Oh,
the.
wait, that's the old one. That's the old one. Sorry. Here we go. 193 works.
Yeah, and then it's the 211. But look at
that. Did they update this one?
So we can get updated ones because of.
Well, because this is a camera, it's not a model, right? So
yeah.
If you think about, if really seriously, if I have this model and it's based on all these different spacecraft giving it input, so this is how they kind of extend the life of spacecraft or extend their usefulness in really clever ways, quite frankly. And that's what that whole Enneal thing is. It's not actual pictures of it; it's a model, okay? But what's happening in these models is sometimes I believe what's happening, Wayne, is they get something that blows the model up and they just can't show it.
Can you get larger on that one, or even go to 211? I think 211 is the next one over. There it is. Yeah, it is 211.
There we go.
And let's get that bigger. Look at the 4 o'clock position on the coronosphere.
Let me get this to look a little bit more square. This one here?
Yeah, I'm actually the coronosphere. Look at it. This is what it looks like there is a cold spot actually in the coronosphere itself. Go out just right there. Now see the coronosphere going out?
Yep.
Look down there at the 4 o'clock position. There you go. That's what I'm trying to point out. And if you notice, there is no interaction at the North Pole and minimal at the South. So my point is this, is what I'm trying to point out. When you're having a fusion reaction and the coronosphere should be at least somewhat symmetrical in the outflow. Maybe I've seen it in times past that way.
You know, again, when I visualize this in my mind, and thank you, United States Air Force, for training me. After I got out of the regular Air Force, I retrained to be an aircraft navigation avionics person, communication systems. And I got a really good education in electronics. And the Air Force and the military in general really does train you well in electronics when they put you through that course, those courses. And I actually got to the point where I could see, you know, when I visualize the sun based on that training, I'm looking at a magnet that's being influenced right now. That's not a magnet just sitting on its own out there just by itself, not being influenced by anything else. It looks like it's getting connected to some very strong other forces out there. That's what I visualize.
Well, there's definitely something going on. I mean, I look at this and, you know, when you tie it all together with what's going on in the interplanetary system, the outer planetary system, we're seeing that there's more, these dwarf planets, more and more being identified in an orbit around our star. It lends the credence to the whole theory that I don't think our solar system is isolated as we have been led to believe. That's what I'm saying.
Well, and I think that's probably always been the case. That's where I'm going with it. I don't think that anything we're seeing is unique.
I think it's absolutely correct.
Yeah, I think that this is our sensing, our ability to see it. The truth is coming out more and more. We're seeing exactly how complex this all is, and we live in interesting times, my friend.
Well, you know, and I'll just close it out. You know, when we say this, and the beginning of knowledge and wisdom is to seek wisdom, and that happens by asking the questions. We may not have the answers, but I think we're getting much more in tune and better at asking the right question.
Yeah, and as much as people want to vilify NASA and stuff like that, and I do, I give them a lot of crap because they're hiding things from us. I know they are. But at the same time, they still let us look at the sun through their instruments. So thank you for that.
Yes, we appreciate them all out there. Well, Steve, good session, and